My pleasure. Yeah. Sharing some insights, some experience, how to enable digitalization. So Dima is supporting me, so if any questions, please raise also during the presentation in your local language, and he's supporting me. NDGIT, we are fintech. We are best friends to banks and insurer. Why? We make a digital tomorrow. So we created an API platform which runs all these open API, PSD2, API management around, and that's something which is counting double to speed up. We are solving three main pain points. On one hand, the core systems are not flexible. They're not built to connect to fintechs. So a main point to scale and to multiplicate yourself is not existing on the today's systems. The second, be aware that PSD2, leading from European banks across 28 countries, will be there in summer 2019. So all banks have to be PSD2 compliance ready. Globally, I just came back from Tokyo a few days ago. All countries are moving open API. Everyone is opening his systems. Don't be the last one. Try it as an opportunity. Digitalization comes with APIs and microservices. So there's a new paradigm from old legacy systems to new packages and new APIs. That's something you have to deal with. And we talked about with several fintechs, they all came with an API. Dealing cross banks will be via API. So that's a new paradigm you have to respect. So the API platform, what NDGIT does, is the glue to connect this all together. That's our job. There are 4 use cases I brought with. On one hand, it's not driving digital projects as a captured one-time shot. Build an API platform that if you once bring in an API, a fintech or an app or a service, that you can multiplicate across different processes. So that's a platform which let you accelerate digital projects with best-of-breed APIs to speed up a launch. To give us some, I think there's no doubt that fintechs brings in the innovation to us. We like to utilize. And there is no doubt that a lot starts with multi-banking. So it is that I'm, as a consumer, be able to read foreign accounts on your bank account, that I have this integrated. The issue is, all fintechs are great, no one is perfect. So we found out that reading 90% or 80% of your bank accounts is maybe missing some bank accounts. So we multi-aggregate 9 of these access to account players to bring you up to a very high 90% that the consumer has an experience. But there are more APIs coming up with fintechs. You're launching an app, maybe Movement is the first choice. That's an example out of Germany. And you have to categorize data. You have to go for scanning and photo functions. You're going for payment services. And all over, you already have 5, 6 APIs to connect to. And tell you the apps which I have seen in Europe or globally, they are very limited with high penetration from consumers. Majority of the apps are not used. Why? There's a missing piece. If you don't integrate, beside credits and liquidity, the deposit, the assets, I don't have a fully view on my bank account. So we multi-aggregate depots. We take the analyze on top, robot advisory on top, which really generate then a customer journey. Be aware, a lot of banks are working on, a lot of fintechs are working on. There's a massive PFMs coming in the market. And to compete, you have to be different. What is an API platform doing so far? We multi-aggregate these APIs and let you run an app builder. Launching an app in a very, very short time. Connecting an API is in a minute or it's in a day. Opening a core systems takes us down to 3 months. So we can speed up a lot to make this happen on your systems. And learning with great fintechs that there is more to utilize across different banks, we built up a marketplace looking on best-of-breed APIs to deliver cleaned up and consolidated to your systems. Second use case. That's a different world around. So we're talking about platform where the bank multiplicates to the digital world, where the consumer lifestyle is taking place. So it's now the other way around, that an e-commerce and online wants to integrate banking services. And we have launched with mobility, with eBay back. So eBay bought this portal. It's a top 5 portal in Germany. It's a top 1 marketplace where you sell and buy cars. 1.4 million cars are listed. 40,000 resellers are connected to. So what eBay does is they multi-aggregate the banks below. They have connected to 10 banks back. The platform is connecting to the portal. And they now can credit on the point of sale where the consumer is interested to buy a new car. If you're the bank which have an API, you're part of the game. If you tell eBay it takes 18 months to connect to, you're out of the game. That's something you have to be aware of. Looking at the third model, it's about the open API. And that's the view we have right now with all the European banks. That's the roadmap that banks are working on. So there's one part which is the passive one, just following what they have to do. And there are several banks which started with multi-banking. So they start to add foreign accounts and looking now for 2018 on the budgets to go for PSD2. So they all are open the core systems. But finally, there is more, as I explained before, with the project level to multiplicate your services to a customer journey. So multi-bank is a topic. The third thing is that you extend these services to your partners. You increase the open API to more services. You may sell it. And the fourth one, I brought with an example. Hypothekarbank Lenzburg. It's a very old bank, founded in 1868. It's a very regional, small bank, and the CEO, Marianne Wilde, she decided to go all these open APIs and open banking. It's a very brave approach, and nothing to count which will be the new model in the next 3 years with her. But what she did, and she already has been mentioned as the most innovative bank in Switzerland. So what she does is that Finstar, it's a model of their core system. She opened the bank system to other banks. So the bank's IT is hosting systems for 9 other banks, which are the Finstar customers. They have partner banks and white label banks. And they already deal with 9 fintechs, which are bringing technology, services, a new channel, or maybe just factoring or 24 hours credit services to microservices. There's a bunch of. And the middleware simplifies the effort as you have a single interface to the bank, and all banks, partners, customers, and the fintechs connect to one world. This makes sense to scale. This makes sense to hold control. And further, it makes it much more simple to all the other players as an API interface exists to connect to. So it's a win-win for both sides. The fintechs, the partner banks, you're dealing across your country, across your ecosystem, and especially for Hypothekarbank itself and the bank. You know, IT usually tell you that there's no time and no resources. And if fintech coming to your desk is trying to get resources available, and that's a platform where you scale up pretty fast. The SFTI, it is the Swiss FinTech Innovation, is an association to drive FinTech hub across Switzerland. And they decided it's a best practice. They're trying to roll out across the country. That's an example how we build up a marketplace ecosystem linked to SME business. I believe it's a very extended. Not every bank will go for to launch a marketplace to their customers. For the customer, it's great as you may integrate non-core businesses beside. So I can click out, I can get out all apps and all services which are available from core and non-core systems. But overall, that's the platform how it looks like. So there's one layer, which is the middleware. We open the core systems with the PC2-like or open API, like in Switzerland, which is not PC2 regulated. And it is about integrating open APIs, your internal development, which is moving to APIs and microservices, and the external fintech world. So all connects on one world. And finally, it is about to connect APIs. It is about to know which rights the API has. Is the customer, is the partner authorized to get your data? Is he authorized to write in your core systems? So you're defining the rules, how the API is used for, and then you have a great platform to transform and process the API across your different services. So you connect once, and you multiply across your services. And finally, which is also part of the PC2 one, we control, we manage, and we give you error reporting. So you have fully transparency, how much utilization of the API happens, who has connectivity to, where's an error around, or where's the authorization and the utilization for, maybe to link to payment services. So all over, what's about the NDGIT offering or what experience? So one is, there is an interest for a single platform to drive your ecosystem, to drive your open banking, your open API. There's also interest from your partners and fintechs, why it's much easier to connect to deal and to create some opportunities together. You have to multi-aggregate somewhere the APIs and definitely look for different players which may take some services and combine this to a new process. So finally, there's 3 takeaways for you. We faster launch new services. We'll let you generate an API, an open API to your systems, to the market. And finally, we're creating your controlled digitalization and building your ecosystems.